Hey guys, thank you so much for sending in your questions. We are now going to answer a few of those, and feel free to send your questions at the website, Ty and That Guy. And the first question is, Bill Jeffery asks, belters are regularly described as basketball player tall. In a hypothetical do-over, if money/casting were no object, would you consider casting or digital effects to have all the belters appear as described in the books?
I don't know, maybe. So obviously, initially, not having everybody turn super tall with digital effects was a budget consideration. Of course, it was, and not casting everybody who's a belter as a basketball player. It just became impractical to find super tall, skinny people for every part. And as Narain Shankar, our showrunner, said at one point, height doesn't act. So we really wanted to default on the side of getting the best performers for the roles and not worrying so much about the physical stuff. Having said that, one of the things that I kind of like about what wound up happening is we wound up with the belters sort of being cultural belters rather than really physically obvious as belters. And I think we wound up, because it's a visual medium in TV, I think we wound up with some positive effects from that. It makes them seem less alien. I think it makes the audience see them more as characters that they identify with. I think actually in the long run, in the visual medium of TV, what we wound up doing actually told the story better than if every single belter was, 7 feet tall and weighed 150 pounds. I think it allowed our audience to identify with them a lot more, which is actually a good thing. So I'm not unhappy with how it turned out.
What people don't know is Cara G is actually 6'5".
Yeah. Yep. We had to shrink her.
James Kennedy asks, if you were reshooting or writing season 1, what would either of you do differently with what you know now?
I don't know, probably a million things. I mean, I wrote stuff a month ago that if I had a do-over, I'd change things. I mean, that's just the nature of creation, is you're going to have stuff that you would do differently. But I don't have any specific list or anything.
Yeah, it's hard to answer that one.
Hi, Ty and Wes. Thank you for the Expanse and for creating this podcast series. I really appreciate the work that you and the rest of the team are doing to make this happen. I have a question related to the music used in the Expanse, because I think it's such an integral part of the series. And there are many cases where even the ambient music is spot on and creates the right impression about the scene. There are also sound effects, which add a lot of details to the scenes. And there are things like background radio chatter, engine sounds, and things like that, which are well in sync with everything else that's going on. There are even small details such as changes in how the speech of the same character sounds based on the camera location. For example, when Amos is talking to Kenzo in an airlock in season 1, episode 7. So my question is whether it would be possible to spend some time talking about music and sound effects in one of the podcast episodes, and maybe talking about what was happening behind the scenes to get to the end result. Thank you, and cheers from Russia. Goodbye.
All right. So I answered that one for Dmitrii. Yes, it will be possible to do that. Wes and I have been talking about trying to get Clinton Shorter on the show to talk about the music he's done. We haven't done it yet because he's in the teeth of writing music for season 6. So his schedule's pretty full right now. But as soon as the season is wrapped and the music's done, we'll definitely try to get Clinton to come on the show and talk about how he writes music for the show and the choices. And we can talk about Foley and sound mixing and all that stuff at some point too. Maybe we can find a guest who could really dig down on that stuff. But yes, we can talk about those things. And I think it's a good idea to give those guys some credit.
James Kennedy asks, Wes, can you talk about stunt doubles and what that whole process is like? Like, how do you pick the double? What's it like having someone do all or some of the dangerous parts of your job?
Well, I'd like to answer part of this. The part that I think most people don't know about the show, and I think this is a cool little insider tidbit, is that I do all of the body double work for Wes. So whenever you have Amos in a scene with his shirt off or where he's stripped down, we actually do digital replacement to put Wes's head on my body. And it makes it easier for the actor. There's a lot of obvious reasons why we do it that way, but I don't think it's a thing most people know.
Also, anything having to do with like danger or like real physically demanding stuff, that's Ty.
Yeah.
That's all Ty that you see there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks for the question, James.
You know, I mean, I don't mind getting hurt, and Wes is a bit of a fragile flower, so you know, we got to look out for him.
Yeah, like there's been a few times where I just weep uncontrollably of certain stunts that I tried to do went bad, and I just decided that I'm just going to not try it anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
I'm glad we finally got to talk about that.